like 50-50 is perfect. So you want people to know that you're doing something different, that you are an entrepreneur or something like that, but they shouldn't know exactly what you're doing, right? You also want to keep them guessing. So it's like you're doing something, but they don't know what, right? It shouldn't be obvious that you're in network marketing. Like you don't want to have every picture of you at a meeting smiling with thumbs up, right? That's a clear giveaway that you're in network marketing. But at the same time, there should be some professional business pictures as well. So this is kind of what we post on our profile. Some other things is that in your bio, if you have a significant other, you should definitely mention them. Even your profile picture on the top left, you can see it should be a good quality picture of you, or if you're in a relationship, you and your significant other. And however, if you are a couple, I recommend don't have a page that's for both of you because I feel like that is another giveaway that it's kind of network marketing. So have a page for each of you individually. Your page should be like for you as a person. So, and then in my bio, I have a few things, a little bit about myself, maybe a little quote, or like for me, I have golden rules, something that I believe in. And I actually also have a link to my LinkedIn, which we'll get into later. But if somebody wants to look me up, I give them the link right away where they can actually look me up on LinkedIn. So, another thing on Instagram is highlights. So this is like a compilation. Actually, before I get into that, you can post stories on Instagram. So a story is something that's available for 24 hours. So like today, we went for a little walk outside. It was very nice out. So I just posted that as my story. So you do want to create some content. The good mix, I would say a good mix would be maybe 1 to 2 posts a week at least. I mean, you can do more. You don't want to be posting like 5 times a day. You don't want to spam people's feed, but 1 to 2 times a week is pretty solid. And then for your stories, you want to maybe post 1 story a day. That would be a good amount of content to create. And of course, you can post more than that as well. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and a couple of things to just bear in mind when you're creating your profile. Especially if you've had social media, like an Instagram profile for a while, you want to go through it as well and clean it up, which means that if there are any pictures that are from, pre your time in business that kind of put you in not the best light, you want to get rid of those pictures. So if there's any posts that have swear words on them, if there's any, posts with a bunch of alcohol or parties or anything else that, doesn't color you in the most respectable light, you want to get rid of those. The other thing is that we don't recommend posting products, like posting pictures of the products on your Instagram or on your story, right? Because people are going to see that and immediately, they may only have an extremely limited view of what you're in, right? We don't want them thinking that this is just, another kind of a business where you're only selling products. And that is something that would actually significantly decrease the number of people that actually message you back because they think they already know it, like know what you're going for. You definitely want to clean that up. Additionally, when you look at the story, when you look at the profile picture at the top, what Ryan mentioned is so true. Make sure it's a good quality picture, because if it's blurry or if it's hazy or if the pixel quality is bad, people may not accept your follows just because they're a little bit, like they just don't know, who you are. It kind of makes them a little uncomfortable. The other thing is that what we do and what we've found to work for us is to keep your profile on private.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who may opt for it to be on public for, whatever reason. You might get more follows initially, but what we've found is for the purposes of Instagram contacting, it's been better for us to be on private. That way, when we request someone, they typically have to accept us and follow us back in order to see our page. And so for that reason, they will accept us and see our page. And then lastly, like what Ryan was saying, you want to make sure that this is who you are as a person. So try to, if you have things with your family, even if there's any accomplishment for your job, if there's a vacation you've taken, you can include all of that. Everything should not be, quotes, right? You can have just regular posts as well. But Ryan, like he said as well, it becomes clear that, especially from his page right now, that he's doing something else.
Yep. So, I think what Nidhi spoke about, that kind of transitions into the next part, which is when you're adding, or you want to add people, but you only want to message people who add you back. So people who are your followers. You can see on the top, those are people who are my followers. So these are the people who I would message, because if I don't, if they don't follow me back, then it's going to go into like a spam folder. It'll show up as a message request in a different folder, and they may not even get to it. So uh, also, yeah, just to explain a little more on stories. So what you can do after you post some stories, you can actually highlight them. So you can either add them to one of your existing highlights, or you can create new highlights. So what this is basically like a little reel of stories. So like I have one which is, you know, some motivational quotes, like some of my books, right? We have some, yeah, we have one about Seven Springs, which hopefully will be there this year. But all of you should qualify for Kumar Go Diamond. That's key. But yeah, there's going to be travel. There, I have some travel ones, places we've traveled to, proposals, basketball, Tesla, some, you know, just different things, and one of our wedding. So yeah, you can have different highlights there. Okay, cool. So next part is adding people. Okay, so how we add people. So in all social media platforms, the goal when you're adding people is to find people who are within your location relatively, and also who are within the bell curve age-wise. Like you guys probably all heard 66866. All the leaders, they really teach this. I mean, if you look at most of the diamonds in the team, they all got started, you know, around 25 to 35, right? And that's what we've noticed. I mean, maybe like 22 to 30, you know, around that age range is who you'd want to work best with. So you want to find people who are out of college because, you know, they're probably working, they have a stable income, and people, you know, who are within 30, 35. And if they're older than that, that doesn't mean you don't message them or that they can't build a business. They obviously can, but it's just about increasing your odds of where you're going to see the most chances. Like if you know people in that age category and you think they're entrepreneurial minded, go for it. But if you're connecting with random people, you might as well have the odds working with people. So how we do that on, we'll share about how we do that on LinkedIn as well as Instagram, but right now we're going to go into it on Instagram. So what we did to get started with this is, you know, maybe go to somebody from your high school or college, depending on your situation too. Like what we wanted to find was somebody who I know has graduated from college, but went to college in New Jersey because that's where we live. So there's a few different criteria we have for these profiles, and we can get into explanations, but I just want to list them because, you know, there's this is just what we found over a period of time. Number one, I like to add people from accounts that obviously are within the right age range, so 22 to 35. Number two, the right location. So they've graduated from college that was in New Jersey and, you know, kind of went to high school in New Jersey. Also that currently live in New Jersey as well, or New York. New Jersey, New York, PA, that's kind of where we look for. If you're in a different state or different country, obviously near you. The third...
And I'm sorry, just one thing is like, you know, a lot of times you can figure this out by a quick scan of their profile.
Yeah, so, we'll show some examples.
Yeah, exactly. Like on their profile, a lot of people will list Jersey City, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Or if you look through their pictures, you'll be able to see, oh, if all of their pictures are in New Jersey, then they probably live in New Jersey. This isn't something, we'll show you how we do it. It doesn't take very long. But this is how we use these criteria.
Yeah. So the third one is I like to go for accounts that are not following me back. So, for example, let's take our example. I could have somebody from my high school who I know who also went to college in New Jersey, who's graduated now, and I may have followed them, but they might have unfollowed me for whatever reason, or they never followed me in the first place. That would be a perfect account to use because I don't want to go to, like, you know, my best friend from high school who still follows me, because if I'm adding a bunch of people from his page, he's going to be like, why are you adding my friends, right? They're going to see that he follows me too, so they're going to ask him, yo, who is this guy who just added me? But if they're not following me, then they're not going to get a chance to ask me that because they're going to have no idea that I'm connected to that person in any way. So if you have any of your friends from high school or college that unfollowed you, use their accounts, right? That's a good use of their accounts. So anyways, that's number three. Number four is that they're private. And the reason for that is because I'm going to go to one of their pictures and follow everybody who liked their picture. And if they have hashtags on their picture, then it could be any random people who like their picture. So I want to find people who are private because then only the people who are following them could have liked their picture. Okay. And I'll explain that again in a second when I go to how I'm following these people. And number five, what we found has typically worked best is if they have more than 1,000 followers. Okay. So those are the criteria again. So what we do, how I find these accounts, I use an app that tells me who's not following me back, because that's also how I keep this number on the top right, the following count. I want to keep that low. I don't want that to be too high. So as I'm adding a bunch of random people, you want to also periodically go ahead and unfollow people who are not following you back. So the people who are not following me back, I find through that app. Okay. Then what I do, I'll search them up. I'll go to the search page and type in their name or whatever. And so once I go to their page, I'm gonna find their most liked picture and I'm gonna save it to my collection. So there's a save folder in Instagram on the top right. So I'll show you some examples. Don't mind. I've used different apps over a period of time. Currently, I'm using this one called Cleaner for IG, but I've used a bunch of different apps. And I don't unfollow directly from that app because Instagram's kind of blocked me from doing that. I just take that list and then I search them up one by one and unfollow them. So yeah, some of the ones at the bottom are just workout videos or whatever, but like let's take, there's a few of them. So like let's take this guy for example. Okay, this guy has 1,000 followers. He didn't follow me back, and I did some scanning. Usually, what I look for is a graduation picture. So I probably looked for his graduation picture and found that he graduated from school in New Jersey, because most people post a graduation picture. If you haven't noticed, you can usually find it. I go to like May of different years. So like this is February, so I'll try to go to May. No, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on social media. You should just kind of like scan through it very quickly. But so anyways, once I find that this guy is a good account, I'm gonna go to his most liked picture within the last 6 months to a year. So I'll look for the number of likes, 160, 156, 110, whatever. So I ended up finding one. This one had 260 likes. Okay. And after I find this picture, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually follow everybody who liked his picture. And I'm going to actually scan through the profiles very briefly, because I want to see if they say like Florida or, an area that's not where I am. I don't want to follow them. Okay. So I'll scan through a few and I'll click follow, basically. Okay. I guess I'll have to show it over here.
Okay.
Yeah. So we also have Nidhi's account here. So like you can see an example of her page, but like let's say she has a few of these pictures saved as well. So we save a few of these pictures so that every day we can follow people. So like right now we have this girl's, so like.
Yeah, and if you just go back just for a quick second, you can just see here, Hoboken, New Jersey.
Right.
Like right there on this kind of a picture that really like, it does indicate to me that she probably lives in Hoboken right now.
Yeah.
And as we go through, we kind of get a sense based on whatever graduation pictures or whatnot that's there, that she may have lived in New Jersey for most of her life.
Yeah, like this is her brother graduating from Metuchen High School. So that means she's from Metuchen, So like that's a good indicator, right? So yeah, then we go to her picture. And every day what we'll do is we'll go to where we left off, which is like the bottom. Right here. Go right here where we left off and then click a few pictures and follow them like that. And then we'll do, you can play around with it and see how many you can do. We usually do 80 people twice a day, because that's just what works for us. But you play around. You don't want to get blocked. Like you don't want to keep going if Instagram gives you a message saying your action has been blocked. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the idea is that this is a process, right? So what do you look at? And I think we'll talk about it as well. But when it comes to doing Instagram contacting, first you want to make sure that you have people to message. Mm-hmm. So that means part of our daily routine every day is making sure on both of our Instagram accounts that we've added 80 people twice a day. Then beyond that, we have part of our routine is sending messages every single day. And we'll talk about that as well. But it's a process. And also you don't want to get lost in doing this so that you spend hours following people, right? That should never be the case. This should be something that takes you probably about, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. And that's why when you look through it, you don't want to start clicking through every single picture for somebody and just lose your time that way. This is supposed to be a pretty efficient process. And that's why we save a bunch of those pictures there. Whenever we're going through, if we note that somebody has unfollowed us, we might look through it and scan to see if they fit those parameters. And if so, we'll save the picture.
Yeah.
So that every single day we have an account from whom we're able to, find different people that we can follow.
Yep. Cool. So after we follow people, they're going to start following us back. And since our accounts are private, there's these follow requests. So you're going to see that they requested to follow us. Whoops. So, sorry. Yeah, we just accept these follow requests. And then we go to the followers list and we kind of pick up where we left off. So there's some point here where we've left off following people. But, we can send some messages.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So like this person, what we'll do is we'll like one picture as long as it's not like super negative, and then we'll message her. And I have keyboard shortcuts on my phone. You can also copy paste this from a note, but I just type in a shortcut and it says, thanks for the follow. You have a cool page. What do you do? Boom. And we'll send like around 30 messages every day.
On each account.
Yeah, so. Yeah, so that's just like an example. If they have what they do in their bio, I'll ask them a different question. Yeah, pretty much just the same thing. That's what we're going to do to start conversations. So typically start about 30 conversations every day.
And again, that's part of our process, right? So we know that part of our daily routine, just like reading and just like listening to an audio, is adding people and sending messages, right? Regardless of whatever else we do. Even if you don't have very much time in the day and you can't really respond to any messages or conversations and keep it going, at the very least, if you can find 10 to 20 minutes in a day, you can at least keep this going. And then you've started a number of conversations, throughout the few days that you can start to now respond to and engage with. The other thing is that, if you are a girl, and you're reaching out to guys, like, you just want to be mindful of, right? Or if you're, for instance, if you're a guy reaching out to a girl, you want to be mindful of. So what we'll do is if I note that a guy has a girlfriend, sometimes I'll say, you and your girlfriend seem like a really sharp couple. What do you guys do? Right? He does the exact same thing when it comes to messaging a girl. You and your husband look like you have seem like a sharp couple. What do you guys do? That just goes to show that we're respecting the fact that they're in a relationship, and a lot of times that puts people at ease. And that's definitely something that's definitely helped us, even if I know Ryan talks about it, but if you're a guy, you may not necessarily want to say you have a nice page to a girl. For whatever reason, it makes people sometimes automatically think that you may have other intent. But what he usually says in that case is you have a cool page.
Yeah.
Right, you just have to start to be mindful. Yeah.
Yeah, one word, but it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. And you can keep it as conversational. You don't necessarily have to say the same thing that we say, but it's kind of giving them a compliment and engaging in a friendly conversation.
Yep. And after we start the conversation, we kind of let them build. We kind of let them build up in our inbox. So like this girl, one of the ones who I just messaged, she responded right away. I don't respond back right away. We recommend keeping it for at least 8 to 12 hours. But even if it's a few days, it's not a big deal. So we have a few messages that we're going to actually get back to later on. So we don't respond right away because we don't want people to see like that we're eager or like that we're waiting for them or anything like that. So we'll respond to the conversations maybe once a day, at most twice.
Yeah, and that's actually a really big tip, especially when you're just getting started, because you may not have a lot of conversations going. So when one responds and you have time, it's very tempting to kind of want to just immediately respond and see where the conversation leads. But like Brian said, it kind of just seems more so like you're really invested in this conversation, and then you don't want them having the question like, why is this person messaging me? But at the same time, if you respond every single day, they can tell that you're not chasing them, right? You're just having a friendly conversation. You're not overly invested in this, and it definitely improves the results.
Yep. So and then we'll go into some examples of conversations afterwards. I guess we should probably switch to LinkedIn.
Okay, perfect.
And then we can go into some examples.
Absolutely.
So we'll share the screen on the computer for this.
Okay.
And any questions, feel free to enter in the chat, but we can also answer questions at the end. So, you have LinkedIn?
It's right there.
Okay. So.
And
Hold
so,
on, it's loading.
okay. We're just waiting for the screen to load.
No, you know what? I think your computer has been having issues.